Hello everyone. My name is Jānis Kārkliņš. I'm representing also group, and I am leading the best cybersecurity team in the Baltics. And so I will briefly explain you today what we are doing here in also and how that can help you to make more money and have better business. The topic about I'm talking today, as you can see from the name, is called cybersecurity monetization. That might seem a bit complicated, but actually it really isn't, and I will explain you what it is in the next 20 or so minutes. Okay, let's move on. If we look at the cybersecurity landscape in general, lately it has become more and more complex. It has become more and more active. We hear almost every day about news stories, who has been hacked, what information has been stolen. And it's not like that it's only happening somewhere in the Europe or in the US. Things are pretty heated also in the Baltics, in Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. And so it's not that we are free here and very, let's say, relaxed about cybersecurity. No, that's completely not true. And what we see that the attacks are becoming more and more sophisticated. Of course, for customers, that is not really good news, and especially taking into account now the pandemic times that which maybe forces us to do digitalization, digital transformation projects, moving to e-commerce, and that might be a very quick decision and maybe not very thoughtful. And of course, such decisions comes with additional cybersecurity risks, of course. And if we talk about specific risks, then it comes from different sizes and different areas. So we see fraud attempts, we see identity thefts, and that is pretty popular in social media as well. We see industrial espionage as well. Maybe that's not a thing which we talk about much in the market, but still that is happening. And of course, our very beloved malware and blackmailing and ransomware. That's the number one thing which everybody does, seems lately. And the many companies are pretty massively hit by these attacks lately. Okay, moving on, more maybe into details about the attacks. What we see in the market is that almost anyone can be affected, and by meaning that me as a person or you as a person, up to the most secure companies or government agencies in the world, like you see in the US Department of Treasury, Homeland Security, which you think are the most secured companies in the world, even then can be affected. And how it could be done? So some of you might have heard about the vendor called SolarWinds. It's actually a pretty good vendor. We distribute it in Germany and in some other countries, their software. And what they do, they are creating software for system management, network monitoring, and stuff like that. And what the hackers did actually was very clever. So they planted malicious code into SolarWinds system, and as each system gets an updates time by time, and those guys who are using SolarWinds software got an update, and the update contained malicious code through which the hackers could connect to those different companies' systems. And that was a thing which completely no one expected. That was a new type of an attack, let's say like that. And it was affected pretty badly. You can see that more than 18,000 organizations worldwide was affected by that. And it's not that the smallest ones, those are the largest companies in the world using this software. So what that means for us, it means that the attacking vectors are pretty much changing. It's not that we are looking only at the brute force attacks through the firewalls and perimeter defense. Criminals are getting very much more sophisticated and thinking of more creative ways to get into the systems. The second topic was very interested, the CD Projekt Red. Some of you might have heard about that. It's very recent, like less than 1 month ago. What does this company does? They are game development company from Poland, and Cyberpunk was one of the main hits lately from them. But what the hackers did was that they stole the whole source code of the company games, and they put this information up to sale in an online auction. You could buy this software hacking kit for more than $1 million, and if they wouldn't pay the ransom, then this would be auctioned. To be honest, I don't know how this story ended yet. I assume it's still undergoing, but it means that even if we use some games playing internally or home, it means that our data is not secure at all. Okay, some numbers justifying that what I was telling about already. We see the cybersecurity breaches increasing year from year, and talking about like 5 year past, it's almost doubled from that sense. The interesting part here is that the interesting number, and I see here that I've written 7 months, the time where we identify a breach. I have seen in other vendors' presentations that they are mentioning even 1 year or even more, and I know companies are even actually government agencies who has been hacked for years and they haven't noticed that. So what does it mean? It means, if we think logically, that we are working already for many months and we don't have a clue that the information is slipping away or someone is hacking our system. So that's actually pretty terrifying if we look at that. And the interesting part here as well is that we might have think that cybersecurity attacks are only valid to big business, large companies. No, that's actually not true at all, because we see from statistics that actually half of the attacks are for small and medium business. So it means that these companies are not entirely secure at all. So if I'm a cyber criminal, it's very much more easier to me for hack 5 small or medium-sized business rather than trying to hack Luminor Bank or Swedbank. And of course, maybe the return is smaller from the medium business hacking, but still it's very much more easier and yields higher return eventually. And this is actually a very disturbing fact because the small and medium business is completely blind about the potential solutions what they could use. Extra, they are using some firewall maybe, or online email platform, and that's it. So they are completely left alone in this journey from cybersecurity. And that brings us to the massive opportunity what we have in this area, as no one really has been addressing that till now. But the cybersecurity market is pretty much changing, and that is why we are having this conversation as well today. The next thing, what of course we see that the market development is pretty much booming. So we see that there's increase, like 10% increase almost every year in the market growth, starting from infrastructure security up to application security, system recovery, business continuity, and so on and so on. So basically, in every area we see growth currently, and we see opportunities to do the what we call monetization in every segment. And the monetization focus is in several growth phases. I will talk about them a bit later. And from the customer perspective, of course, we talked about SMB, so small, mid-sized business. There is a massive opportunity there, but it doesn't mean that corporate and enterprise customers are not buying anything. They are buying still, continue to buy more and more. Some trends to follow. So what we see lately is that due to the general switch from let's say, traditional license or system buying process. We are moving into more consumptional as a service type of business. And it also relates to cybersecurity. If what we used to do in the Baltics and in the other countries is that we have the system integrators, security integrators who are doing the large security sales projects. Of course, they will continue to do that. But we see that cybersecurity companies are also a bit of switching their business models. So they enable not only the security system sales, but they also enable the managed service type of business. And that is a very interesting shift, and it opens us many, many opportunities. Of course, what also helps us is that there's emergence of different technologies like big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and so on and so on. All this comes to the fact that larger companies buy more and more security products, security technologies, and we end up in a situation that we have 40 different security solutions in the stack. And the management of all this infrastructure is even worse than we wouldn't have maybe any security rather than overly secured, and that really doesn't help much. So what customers are looking for is very user-friendly security. And user-friendly meaning that the less consoles, the less systems to manage, the better. And that actually is a very good selling point to many customers. And yeah, as I mentioned, supply chain-based attacks, what that was the SolarWind example, these are gaining traction more and more and more. And for me as a company owner or a business owner, it means that I need to choose the suppliers way much more carefully and thoroughly, and I need someone to help me with that. And that comes actually to the fact that the increase of cybersecurity comes to the decrease or the lack of cybersecurity professionals. So if you look at the customers or companies that especially in mid-size or small segments, so they don't have enough talent or enough resources to hire cybersecurity professional internally. It's very expensive and it's not really needed. So it's a very good opportunity for us to offer such type of services to them. And of course, the lack of talent in general is a huge problem, not only for the customers, also for us, but that also brings us a good opportunity for managed services. And yeah, finalizing here, the fact that more than 80% of software vendors are now moving away from the traditional license sales, moving to the subscription-based business models. All right, we are now moving to the main topic about monetization. So how can I get some value out of all this story which I was laying before? We have worked on what we call the cybersecurity framework. Might sound complicated. Actually, it's not that complicated. As with, I don't know, sports or dancing, if you know the right moves, it's very easy. But you should know the moves. And what comes to the moves, we are very good teachers. We can help you really in this journey. Let's have one example how to do that. Let's imagine a situation that I'm selling, or I'm a small service provider or mid-sized service provider, working with different small business customers. So what is their demand? Usually they need office system to work with, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Google or any other. That doesn't really matter in this case. Basically, they need some systems to work with. So we are working and starting with just office sales. So we sell them license like 10 euros per month. Everyone is happy. Is it a good business? Maybe, but I don't think that is a very sustainable and long-term strategy for us. How we can improve that? So what we can do, besides only not selling the office license, There are several logical next steps what we can do. The first thing with everything what starts is a security assessment. So we go to the customer and say, hey, Mr. Customer, so let's do a security assessment for your systems. What we do the full system scan. We understand what they have, who are the users, how they are secure. Eventually, we give them a full report containing that, okay, Mr. Customer, this is the hole you have, and this hole you have, and this hole, and this hole. So let's prioritize the list what you have and start adding some security on that. Usually, the first thing is email protection. Then you should a decent backup policy and backup system. Then you need some secure access because everybody working remotely now. And on top of that, we can always offer an awareness or education about cybersecurity and information about that in general. And these are not the only things which we can offer them. It's way much more wider portfolio what we can do. And of course, it not only comes to cybersecurity, we can offer different services, what my colleagues are telling also more today. And with what it ends up eventually, it ends up that starting from the 10 euros per month, we can go up to 110 euros per month from the same customer. Does it make sense? Of course it makes sense. We can earn 10 times more money, right? And of course, not all customers maybe will use the same services. Maybe we won't get 110 euros from customer, maybe we'll get 50 euros. But anyway, that brings us way much more opportunities for profit. And the good thing is that in my team and also cybersecurity team, we offer very good potential margins for the partners. Means that from these license sales, you can aim way much more than from the office sales. And of course, on top of that, you can add your own professional services, consulting, and so on. And the most interesting point of that is that if we sell to the customer just licenses, he can buy them anywhere, right? So it's not really a competitive advantage for us. But if we add all these services which I'm mentioning here, it's way much more complicated for customer to move to someone else. So we are getting our traction way much more deeper into the customer's reach, even up to that point that we can fully outsource or manage their IT infrastructure and digital infrastructure. So it is a really good business for us. So what is our view on cybersecurity? Basically, this is nothing new. We start with authentication, backups, data, endpoint security, mobile management, network security, password security, security awareness, security management, system management, and so on and so on and so on. Basically, there are many areas where we can work with the customers, many different solutions, what we can offer them, and of course, the education on top of that. If you look at our cybersecurity portfolio, we have been very thoroughly selecting the vendors what we have here. Of course, they differ from country to country, but these are the ones which we work with in the Baltics. And you see the big names like Fortinet, you see IBM, you see Micro Focus, you see Cisco. Those are the large names with whom we work. But there are also very good guys in specific areas like SI, like QS Solution. Those are the guys who are doing the best things in their very small specific areas. But that's the beauty of cybersecurity services. You can go big and with a wide portfolio. You can go very small and very specific. Yeah, going wide and going about the portfolio. You know, when I started in IT security and in this business, it was like 10 years ago or even a bit more. I thought that the wider portfolio, the better. So that turned out not really the same and very good. Actually, the wider portfolio, I would say, harder for us to sell actually, because you cannot really become an expert in all of the areas. So actually, the success key is not only portfolio, but trust from the customers, most importantly, and also our expertise. So it means that we not only tell, but we can show and help the customer really implement that and get value out of that. So, but the good news again is that we have very experienced professionals in the team who can really help you to start with this business. I know that some of you maybe don't do cybersecurity services yet, but really you can start doing that with our help very easily. All right, how did this picture actually works, and what can we do jointly together? So what we have in our portfolio, you saw different vendors. So we have different cybersecurity providers. Then we have our also cloud marketplace platform. I assume most of you are familiar with that, but if not, we can teach you how to use it. And our platform allows you to sell different kind of services. So this is the story where you come into this picture. So we have our system partners or channel partners who can then choose different type of delivery, let's say like that, to their customers, either subscribe to different software or buy different type of things. And starting from the hardware up to support, cloud services, solutions, security, and managed services, and professional services, and so on and so on. So basically, we allow different type of business models within our systems. And so you can choose the best way how to approach your customers and mix and match different type of sales types, project sales, subscription sales, managed services. Everything is possible with our platforms. So what are the key takeaways out of today's conversation? What we see in the market that it is really shifting currently from traditional project sales type of transactions more to service-oriented managed solutions with monthly billable approach. Of course, we see that the cybersecurity and crime in general is very much increasing in the numbers. I don't remember in which vendor's presentation was that, but there was numbers comparing traditional crime with cybersecurity crime, and it's way much more profitable for criminals to get into the cyber crimes rather than just doing traditional crimes. That is also one of the things why cyber crimes are becoming more and more popular, more and more investments are going into that, and that's actually a massive, massive industry already. And of course, that means that for the customers, the life won't get easier, and they will really need your help with that. The good news is that we have actually opportunity to interact with customer at every level. So this is one of the things which we can use and what we can also take as an opportunity. And the easiest way how to start that is with cybersecurity assessments. Because basically, if we do the assessment, we have the full picture of customers' infrastructure and customers' situation. And it's way much more easier to go to the customer and say, hey, guys, you have a problem here, here, and here. Let's jointly fix that and see a way how we can solve that. And yeah, the important thing for us and also for you is that this shift or conversion from the existing resale business to become more like a managed service provider or managed security service provider, that is a very wise and good investment at this point, that you will start to think about this business and move like into that business. So that is it at this point. Actually, yeah, one important point I forgot to tell, that all the questions you could write in the chat, or there is a question tab But if you have some questions, please let me know. Um, if there is no questions, then probably I can thank you for the time today. And hopefully we meet soon and discuss more into details how we can help you develop your cybersecurity managed service business. Thank you.